Hello my keto peeps, it's Samaya and welcome back to my channel, I Don't Sugarcoat. You know what I was in the mood for the other day? Cheese and crackers. However, I had no crackers and all the crackers at the Whole Food store were too high in carbs. So I decided, why not make crackers? So let's get started. Okay, you guys, so today we're going to be making two different kinds of crackers today. Here we're going to be making sour cream and chive crackers, but if you like, you can make yours plain and I'll tell you how to do that. And then over here, I have it set up for us to make graham crackers. And you heard me right, we're making graham crackers. So over here, we're going to start with the sour cream and chive crackers first. And what I have here is a half a cup of almond flour. And I know this is the first time you've seen almond flour since I've started my channel. And it's not that I'm opposed to using almond flour. It's just that when I first started keto, I used almond flour a lot. And it just kind of became something that I was like getting tired of. So I was looking for something different in order to be able to change things up, mix things up, so that way I could stick with the diet. And I found a bunch of different things and I'll share those things with you along the way. But today we're gonna be using almond flour because I really like almond flour for crackers. So I've got a half a cup in here. So we're just gonna add that to our mixing bowl right here. And then we have a half a cup of Lupin Flour. And then I'm gonna be using a tablespoon of golden flaxseed. And if you don't have golden, you can just use the regular one. I just like the golden one because it has less of a bold taste. So that's why I like the golden one. And we're just gonna throw that in there. And then we need half a teaspoon of salt. And we're gonna add in a quarter teaspoon of Xanthan Gum. And we're gonna give this a stir first before we add in anything else. When I first made crackers, I only used almond flour and they were great, but I found that incorporating Lupin flour with almond flour made it more cracker-like. So that's why I like this combination of the two of these. Okay, and so now I'm going to add the chives, and this is only a tablespoon and a half. All right, and I'm gonna mix those in first, just to try to get them mixed throughout before we add any of the wet ingredients in. Now, if you wanna make yours plain, you can just skip adding the chives, so you don't have to do that next step, and you don't have to add the sour cream. So I've got a tablespoon of sour cream here that I'm going to be adding to the mixture. And normally I would just add 3 tablespoons of water to this, but we're just gonna add 2 tablespoons, if that'll do, with the 1 tablespoon of sour cream. Sometimes I have to add a little bit more water with this, so we'll just kind of play it by ear depending on what the dough looks like. And from this point out, we're not gonna whisk. We're just gonna use our little spatula here and mix it with that. And so I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of water and see if this will work. Now, if you're making yours just plain, just add the 3 tablespoons of water after you've mixed all the dry ingredients together. And if you want, you could do something like maybe like a butter cracker, and you can just get like some butter flavor extract and then just add like maybe 1/4 of a teaspoon of that. And you don't want to add too much because that stuff is strong, and I made that mistake the first time I made butter crackers. So you just want to add like 1/4 of a teaspoon maybe a little less depending on how much of a butter flavor you want. Okay, so what we want with this dough is we want it to be quite firm because we're going to be rolling this thin. So we don't want this to be a very wet dough. See, I've done this recipe a couple different ways using different amounts of almond flour and cashew flour. So this is the first time I'm doing this as a half and half. So I might need to add more water to this because Lupin Flour absorbs a lot of moisture. So you might need more than what you would need if you were just using just almond flour. And you can totally do this with just almond flour as well. You don't have to add in the Lupin flour. I just like it because, as I said, I feel as though it gives it more of a cracker texture. So I think I'm going to put maybe half a tablespoon of water in here. I don't think I need a full tablespoon of water. Okay, so, and I think I'm going to mix this with my hands a little bit just so I can get it all nice and incorporated. And I'm just going to eyeball that half a tablespoon. All right, roll up my sleeves and get on in here. Oh yeah, see, squeezing it with my hands and doing that makes it get really well incorporated. I use that word a lot, I think. I don't know, maybe I just like it incorporated. All right, my dough looks good. I feel it looks good. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna wash my hands and then I'm gonna get some wax paper here, parchment paper. I'm gonna get some parchment paper and then we're gonna get this rolled out and then I'll show you what we're gonna do next. And you want to make sure you're using the right side. Make sure you feel it. One side feels much smoother and more waxier than the other. So just make sure you check that you're putting it on the right side because you don't want your dough to stick and you do want it to be able to peel off when you're done. Now we're just going to lay that on top of here. First, I'm going to try to shape this a little bit. Try to get it into the shape of maybe some sort of square so when we roll it out, it can be almost in a square. And this dough is very firm, so you don't have to be scared to push on it or work with it. It's not like it's gonna break apart on you or anything. Okay, so I sort of got a square going on here. Let's see how that works. Okay, so now we're just gonna go ahead and start rolling this out. And just give some firm presses into your dough. Just rocking your rolling pin back and forth. And we're trying to roll this out to about 1/8 of an inch. Maybe you want yours a little bit thicker than that, so roll it out to the thickness that you like. If you want your cracker to be a little bit sturdier, like if you intend to use it to hold a dip or something like that, maybe you want it to be a little bit sturdier, so you're going to want to make it a little thicker. Or if you want yours nice and thin and crispy, you'll go ahead and roll them out thinner. I tell you one thing, this is a workout. Okay, now if you're starting to see that you're getting like, you know, the scraggly weird edges, what I like to do with that is I like to just fold them back onto itself. And And I'll show you how to do that in just a second. And then if you see that you're getting some parts that are too thin, you're gonna wanna try to deal with that too. Okay, so all right, so I'm gonna try to fold this in on itself a little. You just wanna fold it over so you get like a nice sharp edge. And just fold it in, because then you're just gonna roll it back out. Because I'm trying to keep things nice and square. And if you have any parts that aren't connected, just grab some dough, move it over, pinch it together. Because you're gonna keep rolling it, so it's gonna get prettier the more you roll it. So it just depends on what you want it to look like. And because I like things to look really nice, I'm probably gonna be rolling this for longer than what I should, because I can't help myself. But I'll skip past all that for you guys. All right, and now I'm gonna start rolling it out again. Now, by the end of this, more than likely, you're not gonna have straight edges. And that's fine, because here's what I like to do about my scraggly edges. The crackers, when you cook them in the oven, they sometimes like to burn around the edges. So I don't remove the scraggly edges just yet. I leave them there when they bake, so that way, let me flip the paper over, because it's just rolling up on itself. Anyway, I leave my scraggly edges there, so that way when it bakes, those are what get burnt, and then I still have really good looking crackers. I don't mean burnt, but they get browner than what I like. Okay, so I feel like these are now ready to go ahead and get cut, and then I will show you my little cheat that I like to do, because you know, crackers, most of them tend to have holes in them, and I don't like to poke individual holes. It like gets on my nerves, so I'm gonna do that step first. So I'm gonna take my pie dock, and I'm going to take my pie dock and I'm going to roll it across the dough, and then that's how I'll get my holes. Not a pie dock, a dough dock, Lord. And sure, it's more holes than what you would normally have, unless you're thinking of like a Ritz cracker or something. Oh my goodness, you guys, I keep forgetting to turn that sound off. Sweetness. Okay, so I've got my holes in my crackers, and there goes the dryer. Okay, so now what we want to do is, before we start making our squares, we're going to trim along the edges, because this is what will come off, but we're going to leave it on for baking because we want the oven to brown those and not our crackers. So don't remove them. So go ahead and trim so you can get a nice, perfect. I see my pizza cutter wants to take it. All right, now I'm going to just put that back, and now I've got a nice, straight, perfect edge. And then I'm going to do the same here. And we'll do the same over here. And then the same up top. Okay, and now just cut directly in the middle. And I think I can get 2 more cuts on this. And then the same over here. Okay, and now we'll turn it the long way and we'll cut down the middle again. Now, if for some reason you need like long crackers or something, you can totally stop right here and bake them like this. But I'm gonna make these much smaller servings. I'll let you determine how many you will cut this way. I'm only gonna cut mine's another 2, but you can cut it even more, which will also cut down on your carb count. But I want these crackers to be just a little bit bigger. So I'm only gonna cut mine 1 on each half. But you can cut more if you like. And as I said, it will cut down on how many carbs per cracker. But because I want these crackers to hold, you know, a slice of cheese, maybe a piece of meat, I want it to be a little bit bigger than like a snack size cracker. Okay, and we're gonna just place this right on our cookie sheet. And now, I forgot to tell you, your stove should be preheating to 350. Now, here's another thing that I want to tell you, because since my stove tends to cook fast, I have a instant vortex, which allows me to do oh goodness, what is the word? Sweet baby Jesus. I'm sorry. Hydration. Oh, sweetness. Yeah, hydrating. Basically, I'm gonna take my crackers out of the oven and stick them in the vortex so they don't get too brown, and then they finish cooking in there. That's the gist of it. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, these are going in 350, and I'm gonna probably leave mine in for about 10 minutes. But normally these crackers would cook for, Okay, normally these crackers would cook for about 20 minutes or so, but it kind of depends on your stove. My stove cooks fast, so mine will probably go in for just 10 minutes. Now, if you don't have, and I'm pretty certain maybe a lot of you won't have a hydrator, a dehydrator, there it is, oh my goodness. If you don't have a dehydrator, that's fine. What you will do is halfway through, you want to check and see the color of them. If you notice that they're starting to get dark around the edges, go ahead and lay a sheet of aluminum foil over it. And then you can, if it's not at your desired color just yet, but it's already browning around the edges, still put the sheet of aluminum foil on it, but then like the last couple minutes of baking, go ahead and remove it. So that way you're not gonna have really dark edges around your crackers, because that's just not appealing. You want these to look nice. So go ahead, set your timer for 10 minutes, put these in the stove for 350, but I'm gonna show you how I do mines. So we'll be back as soon as these come out. Okay, you guys, so we're back and it's been 10 minutes. And I just kind of want to see if you guys can see what I'm talking about here as far as like with the browning issue. So this is why I wanted to make sure that, you know, we left those edges on. Now I had a couple crackers here that did get some browning, but they also were kind of thin on these ends. But for the most part, you can see the rest of my crackers look just regular. So what we're gonna do now is, because I want them to have just this nice yellow color is. I'm going to pull these edges away from them like so, and we're going to be adding them to my instant vortex. You guys, I cannot stress how much I love this machine, and if I had time to talk about it today, I would tell you, but this is one of my kitchen faves, and one day I'm gonna do a video that talks about my favorite kitchen things that has helped make my keto journey like so much better, but this is one of them. Like, I just love this thing, like love this thing. Okay, so I'm gonna peel away these edges, and you know what I forgot to do, you guys? I forgot to add a sprinkle of sea salt on top of these. That's okay, I didn't get to do it, but you guys, if you remember, put a sprinkle of coarse sea salt on top of yours, so that way they can be nice and pretty, nice and salty. Not too salty, you just want to put a little, but you know, I totally forgot. So we're gonna open this up, and as I said, if you don't have a dehydrator, that is fine. Just continue to cook them in the oven. I've done that myself. Normally, I would just take it and put some aluminum foil on top to try to stop as much browning as possible and let it cook the next 20 minutes. So that's totally fine, because this step right here, it takes a bit longer. I like to let them cook in the dehydrator for about 2 hours. And if you can hear, they're already getting crisp. So I just want to stick them in the dehydrator, let them dry out some more, and get a nice crisp on them without continuing to cook the browning the color of them. So that's why I like to use this dehydrator. Not to mention, I'm not going to be eating these right now, so it's okay for me to let these cook. Now you'll notice that some of them are still soft. If you do this method, it's fine. They're going to dry out in the dehydrator. Now, doing yours in the oven, once the 20 minutes is up, you just want to take them out the oven. You want to remove them from the, you know what, I might steal a couple of these. That one too. Okay, so you're going to want to take them out, get them onto a cooling rack, and then just let them cool. And then they will be perfectly fine to put in a container to store them in, or if you want to eat them, you can totally go ahead and do that. So I'm going to close this up now, and then on my instant vortex, I have the dehydrate button. I'm going to do it for 160, and I'm going to let this go for about 2 hours. And then I'm just going to hit the start button. And then we're just going to let this go, and I'll show you guys what they look and sound like. Sorry. I'll show you guys what they look and sound like when they get done. But now we're going to move on to our next cracker, and that's our graham cracker. Okay, so I know you're probably like, whoa, graham cracker? And yes, I said graham cracker. And I guess you can imagine why I decided to create a graham cracker recipe. I love cheesecake. Before I started keto, I love cheesecake. And although there are some pretty good recipes out there, the crust was always a problem for me. I tried doing many different methods. I tried roasting the almond flour first and then adding the ingredients to it. I tried everything, but it just never was quite right for me. And so I just stopped making cheesecake, because like, if you're a lover of cheesecake and you can remember what it tastes like, you just kind of know it's not the same. So once I finally started making crackers, then I was like, hey, make a graham cracker. And so that's what I did. I came up with a recipe for graham crackers, and I'm going to share that with you today. And then in the next video, we're gonna take our graham crackers from today and we are gonna make those into a cheesecake crust. And we're gonna do the whole thing. So let's just get into our graham cracker recipe. Okay, today I am using something new. Now, you don't have to use this. You guys can use a cup of almond flour. We're gonna be doubling the recipe of our cracker recipe and adding some extra things in. So here I have 1 cup of walnut flour. And this stuff I just came across by accident. I mean, I'm pretty certain, you know, I knew that if they were selling almond flour, cashew flour and stuff, they would sell all the nut flours. So I saw this on Amazon and decided to try it out. And the main reason why I wanted to do it, 1, I do like walnuts, but 2, this thing has 3 total carbs but 3 dietary fiber, which means this is a 0 net carb product. And so this comes in a double pack. They might sell it in a single pack, I don't know, but this comes in a double pack, but it is quite expensive, you guys. It's $29 to get the double pack, so you might not want to go and splurge on that. But I really wanted to try this out because I'm always looking for new things, new ingredients to make new stuff. So this is what I'm going to be using today to make my graham crackers. So we're just going to add that to the bowl. And I will tell you that this the walnut flour, it has much more of a moist feel to it, but it's not moist at all. It just feels moist. It's not as dry as almond flour, and it's a little bit more moist feeling than cashew flour. But it has like it smells like walnuts, but it has a mild smell to it, and I just felt like it would probably really take on these ingredients well. So here's hoping. And to this, we're gonna add 1 cup of Lupin Flour. Now we're doing double the recipe because I need to make a big enough batch for the pie crust that we're gonna be making in the next video. Okay, and then to this we want to add 2 tablespoons of golden flaxseed. And again, if you don't have golden, just use regular, it's perfectly fine. And now to this, we are going to add 5 tablespoons of Brown Swerve. And now I just want to stop here and go ahead and give this a mix. You want to break down that Brown Swerve as well as you can. Now, could you use a regular white sweetener for this? I'm pretty certain you could, but I don't think it's going to give you that flavor that we're looking for making this graham cracker. So that's why I think it's best to specifically use the Brown Swerve. That's pretty good. Okay, so now we're going to add 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And then we're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. And then we need a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And let's stir that up. And if you smell it, you guys, you can start getting the hint of graham crackers. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add in 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, so that was 1 teaspoon of vanilla, sorry. And now we're going to add in 3 tablespoons of cashew milk. Now you can use almond milk if you like. completely fine. I just prefer cashew milk. Oh, this is gonna be, since it's double the recipe, it's gonna be 6 tablespoons. And I might need to add just a little more like I did with our other crackers. Okay, so we're gonna start giving this a mix. Okay, so I'm just gonna get my hands in here to really get this dough incorporated. And as you can see, it's starting to turn a golden brown. Oh my goodness. You guys. And so once again, I'm just gonna add probably like a tablespoon, and I'm just gonna eyeball it because we had to add half a tablespoon to the other crackers. So, and this has ended up with more loose bits than that dough. So we're just gonna add 1 tablespoon of extra milk. And I use milk for this recipe because I found that the crackers taste better than using water. So if you don't have any almond milk or something like that on hand, you could use water. I just think it tastes better with the milk. And of course, because we have a sweetener in here, this dough is going to be very sticky, but that's what we want. A nice, good, sticky dough. Now, they might smell a little funny to you right now because you're probably not used to cooking with the Lupin Flour. To me, this smells like what it's supposed to. But yes, the Lupin Flour will have a little bit of a unique smell to it, but trust me, when it's cooked into a recipe, there's no weirdness to it at all. Okay. So I'm going to wash my hands, and then we're going to come back and roll this out. You want to make sure you get a nice big sheet of parchment paper because this is double the recipe than the last one. So let's just try to get us a square shape here. And I'm sorry if you guys can hear this going. I'm telling you guys, once you get your graham crackers and you make a crust out of these for cheesecake, I don't think you'll be able to go back and eat it any other way. My husband tried these after I made them the first time, and he was like, sorry. He was like, if you hadn't told me that these weren't real graham crackers, I would have thought they were graham crackers. And when he had the cheesecake that I made with them, oh, he was in love. He really was. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and start rolling these out. Now, if you don't have a really big cookie sheet like I have, then just cut your dough in half and then split it up and do it on 2 cookie sheets. But because I have such a large cookie sheet, I'm keeping my dough whole. Okay, you guys. Now, I'm not worried about these being too pretty, just because most, if not all of this, is going to be going in for our graham crackers crust for our cheesecake, our graham cracker cheesecake crust. So most, if not all of this, will be for that. So, I mean, I'm gonna do this part and give it the holes, but it doesn't necessarily need it for me. But you guys definitely do it for yours because you might be using yours just as a snack cracker or something like that. But if you're doing it for a cheesecake, I guess you could skip this part if you want. You don't have to put holes in it. Okay. And now going to do the same thing with my pizza cutter and trim the edges. Okay, so cut it in the middle. Okay, and finally, because this is a graham cracker, and it used to be one of my favorite things to eat as a kid, I'm gonna do a little bit of cinnamon and sweetener on top of this. First, I'm gonna put it on the cookie sheet. Be gentle getting it on there. All right, and as I said, I'm just gonna sprinkle a little cinnamon and sweetener. And this, it's the same deal. We're gonna put it in 350 for 20 minutes if you're gonna cook it all the way. I'm not sure if I wanna cook it all the way in there. I might just put these also in here. But because this is more so for a crust that I'm making, I might just bake this all the way in the stove. But if I was like gonna put these in a jar and like, you know, use them for a snack, I would want them to be pretty, so I would probably put them in my dehydrator here and just let them get to the right color that I like. But we'll see. I'll determine that as I'm cooking it. But go ahead, stick them in the oven, 350, set your timer for 10 minutes, check them. If they need to be covered, cover them. If not, wait until it gets to the color you like, and then cover them and continue cooking them for 20 to 25 minutes. I think 20 minutes though should suffice. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get these in the oven, and then we'll come back when both our crackers is done. Okay, you guys? See you in a bit. Hey guys, so our graham crackers are out of the oven. I chose to only do them for 10 minutes just because some of them, as you can see, if you can see, were starting to get really dark, and I didn't want that to happen because, like I said, these are going to be going for a cheesecake crust, so I don't want any burnt flavoring in my crust. So I decided to go ahead and just pull them out, and I'm going to go ahead and do the hydration method. But as I said before, you don't have to do this method if you don't have one. Now, there is another suggestion that I have. If you are noticing that your crackers are really starting to get dark, like this one is, something like that, I would suggest still covering them at the halfway point, but turn your stove down to as low as the setting will go, and then cook them at a lower temp for a longer pace, and you should be able to get the cracker texture. It's just going to take a little bit longer, you know? So that's what I would suggest if you're looking to have that perfect cracker. If you really don't care about burning a few and just chucking those out, then go ahead and just do it at the 350 for 20 minutes. But I'm looking to keep most of these because I'm not sure how much of these I'm going to need for my pie crust just yet. So I'm going to just go ahead, wait till these crackers are done. As you can see, they have about 58 minutes left. And we're going to go ahead and get these in and probably do these for a little bit longer because there's more of them there. So I'll probably have these in for maybe somewhere between 3 to 5 hours. And I know that sounds like a long time, you guys, to get crackers, but trust me, it's well worth it when you taste them though. Like, it's well worth the taste. So if you don't want to do it that way, don't do it whatever method you choose. I'm doing it this way because I want them to turn out a certain way. So we'll come back when both of our crackers are done, when they're both completely done, and I will let you see and hear what they sound like. And then In my next video, we will take these graham crackers and we're gonna turn them into a crust and we're gonna make a cheesecake, you guys. And I'm telling you, that thing is going to be phenomenal. So amazing, you guys. So we'll be back in just a little bit. Hey guys, so it's been about 5 hours and the crackers are finally done. As you can see, they look great, guys. You see that? They look great. The holes are perfect. Can you hear? Nice and crisp. Same thing with our sour cream and chives crackers. Lord have mercy. Nice and crisp. I'll even break one for you. Can you hear that? I actually broke one earlier, but that's neither here nor there. But anyway, guys, these crackers are great. They're amazing. They go perfect with a dip or some cheese or some little cuts of meat. These are going to be great. Make them plain, make them any flavor you want. They're going to be just the thing you need. Our graham crackers here, these are going to be a great snack for yourself or your children. Just whatever you want them to do, they're going to be great. But you already know what we're going to do with these. You're going to see me in another video. And these babies are getting turned into a cheesecake crust. And they are going to be phenomenal and fantastic in that recipe. I cannot wait to make that and share that with you guys. I think that's going to be it, guys. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Don't forget to click that little bell so you can get notifications whenever I post a new video. And I'm going to leave the nutritional facts, as always, in the description of this video. Pretty soon I'll have a new camera and then I'll be able to go ahead and see the facts that I have in my phone and give it to you guys as I'm doing the video, but just give me a little more time. Okay, anyway, so I'll leave those facts in the description of the video, and until next time, you guys, bye.